It is time for the God of War to the left side of the map. In the orange, we have him, our Zerg player, starting for the StarTale team. It is
StarTale July.
It's really sad that only 2 players come out of this group.
I know, and that's actually going to be even more sad tomorrow. You know, like in this group, I'm like, you know, I want to...
Don't get me started. I want to cast the games, but I don't want them to... I don't want to witness them falling out of Code S.
I know what you mean, man. It's rough.
At the top, in the green, we have the Protoss player starting for Team MVP, former RS player, former OGS player. It is...
MVP Leo.
That's a funny way to pronounce lure.
They actually changed the way that they pronounce vines now.
Do they say Vines?
No, now they say vines.
Oh, okay, because they used to say Vines, and
yeah,
they're like,
exactly.
They told me, they're like, it's supposed to be Venice. I'm like, no, it's vines. I don't know what to say. This is a word in English, and it's written in English
Bumblebee
letters.
from Team Liquid told me at some point that he was trying to go for the nickname Finesse.
Yes, I thought that's what it... Oh, I knew it! I knew it!
I'm not quite sure if that's actually true, but if that's what he was going for, and because they don't have the F sound in Korea, he kind of pronounced and wrote it wrong, so from that on they transitioned into Finesse. It's really weird.
And now he's like the name of a plant on the side of a building. Pretty sick. All right, so...
That's actually pretty weird.
Yeah, it's Finesse, though, that's not a bad idea.
By the way, I have to ask you something.
Yes.
Did you did you finally come to terms with the Artosis pylon?
I think I've come to terms with it.
You tried to dodge, but did you finally accept that you're famous and that there's a building named after you?
You know, it makes me sad because, like, anyone, if you, like, watch me ladder, I never, ever have that happen. Ever.
So now you build like 10 pylons there. Dude, just in case.
I have the most powered buildings in the entire world. Like, I actually, like, even late game, I will have 200 supply and build like 4 pylons around my gates, like, just to make sure.
How did that happen? When did the first Artosis pylon, when did that actually come into play?
It was actually, I was playing at like 5 a.m. in an NASL match, and I was just in terrible shape, tired as hell, and Phoenix just like killed one of my pylons.
How many buildings did it power?
It like enough that the game ended right there.
Okay.
It was pretty bad, man. I had just switched to Protoss. I was tired. It's not my fault.
I liked how you tried to name it into an in-control pylon.
It's an in-control pylon, man. He makes more of those than I do.
I mean, it was a valiant effort. You tried.
Yeah, I did.
So right now, every time that a Protoss player is actually building like 3 or 4 pylons just to make sure that his buildings are powered, that's what we should call it.
That's actually
pylons.
The Artosis pylons. It's when you have a lot of pylons near all your buildings.
The Artosis pylons. Okay.
Yes. That's what it should
I will
be.
remember that for the next cast.
Yeah. Thanks. All right, so we do have July Zerg getting a pretty quick gas here. And, you know, normally we see Zerg just very quickly take 3 hatches. That's just the normal style. Let me check and make sure if he knows if he has gas. All right, he doesn't know that July has taken a gas. In fact, July's taken another gas. I think we're going to see some early aggression here.
That could definitely be the case. How many drones does he have at this point? 28. Let's see what exactly he's up to. We have a standard build for Lure who is going for Forge first play and has now the first 2 cannons. I actually kind of like that he... actually has 2 additional cannons. He already has 1. This is a pretty safe wall.
Yeah, this is actually Lure figuring something out. He's like, well, you don't have a 3rd base yet? And you're July Zerg? I think I'll make 2 more cannons. You know what? I love that, man.
I don't think he has to scout. He says, I'm up against July. I'm building 3 cannons. Let's make it 5. I want to be safe.
I tell you, if I was playing July and I thought he had any respect for my play skill, I would totally get 3 cannons, and I'd also be making, you know, sentries just chrono boosting out nonstop. But July is actually going for a really quick layer here, but it's layer after speed.
Yeah, but look at gas. He is taking 2 additional gas right now, so this definitely looks like he's going for fast Beetlejuice. It might also be Infestus, but Beetlejuice would make a lot of sense here. The thing is, he is playing so greedy. He doesn't even have a spine crew, not even a single one.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that's why he got speed here, is just in case anything comes out, he can suddenly make a lot of lings. And, I mean, he's forced some additional cannons from Lure. And in fact, Lure seems to be afraid of any attacks because he already has a sentry, he's making another, and he went Robo. And Robo is something that you're going to get if you're like, oh, there might be like a Roach Baneling bus coming or something.
Or just really trying to go for the Immortal push. At this point we have 3 additional gates. And there's the Spire. Spire for July immediately. The Overlord scouted everything. He sees the cannons. He knows exactly what's up. And this could hit Lure pretty hard.
Yeah, I feel like this is actually really good for July. You know, he's taking his third now. And if this is going to be that Immortal push that you like so much, Kaldor, I mean, Mutas are really a good choice against that. You use some Speedlings mixed in there as well, target down the sentries, and then suddenly it's like Immortals are not good against Lings or Mutas. It's a great unit combination against that push.
Look at the production tab. He has 2 additional hatches coming up right now. He's going for 4 bases, and the Spire, he is playing so greedy at this point. There is no Spine Crawler, no nothing. He has the 2 Zerglings that will grant him some vision, but also knowledge if his opponent is moving out. But he doesn't even have a Roach Warren. He doesn't have anything. He's just completely relying on this build. And let's not forget, this is a best of 1.
Yeah, I like it. I like that July Zerg's playing like this, and this style fell out. This was popular for a bit to go 2 base Muta like this, and it went away. But here it is again, and it's going to be so strong against this. I mean, he's already made an Immortal. He has mostly sentries, and there's going to be Mutas popping.
Yeah, he's seen it though. He has an Observer out on the map, and he immediately went for the Twilight Council to get his blink up, so he knows what's coming. But at this point, the Mutalisk, he only gets 8, by the way. He doesn't fully commit to it. He just gets all these bases up. I really like the transition here. Going for the Mutalisk, he knows that his opponent already saw it, so he can harass with the Mutalisk. He can put a little bit of pressure onto Lure. And at the same time, he's taking 2 additional bases. And Lure, if he plays too passive here, he will just completely lose the game because July Zerg's economy will snowball.
Exactly. I mean, the Mutas are to buy time right here. I'm not sure how many Mutas he'll end up making, but he's really focusing on drones right now and evolution chambers. So that's a good choice by July. And he's killing off a lot of probes so far, but if he loses too many Mutas, that might make Lure just do a counterattack, which is exactly what July doesn't want right now.
I like that Lure is committing to his defenses by building cannons in the mineral line. I really like this move. We have a total of 12 workers killed nonetheless, and this puts July in a brilliant spot. He is at 81 drones, and his opponent, Lure, is only at 45 probes. So a 3rd base now coming up for the Protoss, and July committing more and more to Mutalisk. The one thing that I really want to see out of July here is definitely a transition into Infestors and into Hive Tech. That's something that he kind of neglects quite often.
Yeah, that's not his style.
Yeah, not at all. But with this economy, I really hope that he is going for the long game, because now he is in a brilliant position, but he just has to make sure that he capitalizes on it.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what I think he's going to do here? He is getting the Baneling Nest. He has the double Evo for Zergling upgrades, the melee attack and Carapace. He's making a lot of Lings as well as keeping up on his Mutalisk attack. So it looks to me like he's going to stay Layer Tech probably for the entire game, unless like Lure just won't leave, and just crush with huge Ling, Baneling, Muta armies anytime his opponent moves out.
So basically what he normally does. Either he runs out of...
July Zerg's going to be July Zerg, guys. That's what a shock that is.
So either he's running out of resources or his opponent will die. One of the 2.
And I mean, Lure's 3rd base, it's slow for this matchup, and he didn't hit a timing attack. I mean, this would be a fine timing for that 3rd base if he had moved out at all. But July Zerg has controlled the tech paths. He's forced him to go into a tech that he may not have originally been planning for. He forced him to not attack despite making that many sentries. That was obviously for attacking.
Infestation bit coming up. There it is. We might really see a transition, but you are right that he's definitely planning on a big attack on Tier 2. He's taking a 5th base. This is so interesting. I love it. Finally, July really taking care of his economy. That is actually brilliant. And he's getting all these upgrades while harassing and killing another pylon. He should have built a few more Tosis pylons.
Yes, thank you, Kaldor. You're just too kind to me. But yeah, you know, July is actually playing like this is StarCraft 1 right now. He just continues to take bases, masses up, and is going for just such a ridiculous swarm army. And, I mean, he's already maxed out, and... yeah, he's maxed out a little bit later than we can see people max on Roaches, but a 14-minute max with 5 bases off of a 2-base Muta opening, That's really quick. That's a nice play by July.
Also the tech that he has, not only the +2/+2 for his ground units, but we have the +2 attack upgrade for the flyers nearly done. And now he moves into force fields, completely missed, but finally, at least the Banelings are stuck. Beautiful storm, bro! Storms his own army, but that was so well done by Lure. Look at the supply of July!
Oh my god, he just crushed! Those storms were amazing, and now July's in trouble. But Lure has to be careful, he can't get ahead of himself here.
Oh god, July, I love you. A hive tech coming for July. But you're perfectly right. How good was that by Lure? This storm tech hit exactly at the right time. He had the High Templars, and those storms, they did so much damage.
And now we do have a Stargate on the way, and that's really, really important because with that hive coming up, he's going to have to tech into Mothership.
Yes, he does.
Because this is going to be a long game.
Early. I like that Lure already starts to prepare for the Mothership. This is so smart, and I really loved how he just was able to immediately crush this army of July, because that's the one weakness of July's unit composition. Lynx and Mutalisk, they are both just so vulnerable against Storm, against area of effect damage, and Lure took advantage of it.
And now we do have a lot of Infestors popping out. July's about to have 8 Infestors, so that's going to be really nice here, because if you can lock down those sentries and kill those sentries off, suddenly your Banelings are going to be worth a lot more. So that is, I mean, that's the style July's going for with this ridiculously big economy, and he's going to need those Infestors to help make it work.
4th base coming up for Lure now. We also have the, they're coming units, immediately the first few Fungals. At the same time, the Fleet Beacon is being built, and July is losing a lot here, especially his Mutalisk count is getting smaller and smaller as Lure is able to focus them down one by one.
Yeah, the Mutas are basically a non-factor now. He's got a huge economy. He's got good tech, but only 6 Mutas, so he's going to have to tech right up into those Broodlords. But Lure is getting his Mothership at such a sweet timing that it's hard to say how this game's actually going to end up going.
The thing that July really has to do, at some point he needs to get rid of a few drones. He needs to build a few spine crawlers, because he has 90 drones right now, and this will make sure that his army supply will never be able to be on par with Lure. So getting a few spine crawlers, there's at least a few spore crawlers already, but yeah, he needs to slowly but steadily push forward. One of the things that I kind of don't like about July is his creep spread.
Yes, he's gotten a lot better at it recently, but yeah, there's, how many creep tiers does he have?
I don't think he has a single one.
He does not have a single one. He's using some Overlords, which is nice. We need to see Zergs do that more often. But yeah, he is completely neglecting that. Another thing that's actually really interesting to point out is that air attack is on the way for Lure. And, I mean, the only flying unit, obviously, that he's going to have for a bit is Mothership. But I kind of like him getting that, because there are times where switching into Void Rays can be very useful. I don't know if we'll see that this game, but just kind of an interesting thing to point out.
I also like the War Prison that Lure is getting at this point. And now we have, well, he's basically killing his own units here, trying to free up some supply. That's July for you.
Yep. It's, not attacking with the Lings, instead just going ahead and killing some of his own off. Now, for Lure, he's actually starting to add a lot more gateways, because he is up to 4 base, and that's one of the most important things. After the first big battle that they have, he's going to have to remake his units really, really quickly.
I really like how Lure plays here, I have to say. I really like this match. We have the Mothership nearly out, the Broodlords are ready, +1 armor is being researched for the air units of July. He's also getting +3/+3 for his Zerglings. He still has he has too many drones, especially with 4,000 minerals at this point. He should get rid of at least 10 of them. And now he's trying to move in with a small amount of his army, but the Broodlords, they are just way out of position, finally arriving at the scene of the fight, and now he needs some good fungals here. Wow.
Ooh, nice feedbacks there, and that's very important. Good size storms as well, and Lure has actually taken a supply tie for a moment there. July Zerg maxing back out with a lot of Lings on the way, but...
Dan, look at the production tab. We have 2 additional Stargates and +2 attack.
And he's actually really targeting down Infestors, which is smart, because you're going to need to do that to make Void Rays work. So here we go, a nice blink under July. Just has no units here to help out his Broodlords.
Lure with perfect decision-making here. Waits long enough to kill most of the Infestors, then he blinks and takes down all of these Broodlords. And there is still a Warp Prison at the main base, just hovering there. He could use this later on. They are both on even supply, and there it is, the Warp Prison. As the first few Zealots walk into the main base of July, how is he going to react? The Mothership is out as well, not enough Corruptors.
July's are getting really sloppy here. You know, he let his Broodlords attack with no backup units. You have to have backup units there. And look at this. Nice harassment by Lure. Lure's just playing a very solid, strong, intelligent game, whereas July's it feels like he got just so sloppy. He felt like he was so far ahead.
Hive tech is probably going to die. Will he be able to take it down? He's not focusing on the Hive. He could just kill it, but he does not focus it. So right now, the Zerglings might be able, they will be able to clean all those Zealots, take all of them out, but this was actually really scary. He could have lost his Hive and a few tech structures as well.
Yeah, he's got to be careful about that. You know, July Zerg is like kind of falling apart here. He's actually down in supply at this point. The War Prism is toying with him, and that army out there is pretty scary, even though there's a lot of Zealots.
Oh, there comes the army of Lure immediately. July moving in with the Zerglings. There's one Archon doing a ton of damage, and the Storms! Whoa, beautiful Storms and Force Fields doing a really good job. Another Psy Storm hits the Lings and obliterates every single one of them.
Schleiser has 68 more Lings on the way, but his army is basically non-existing. He has some Corruptors, and, well, down go the rest of his Infestors here. So this is looking pretty rough. The Mothership even going to live through that. Schleiser just rallying Lings, which I don't know if that'll be enough.
Lings are not going to cut it here then. Not with the Arc, with all the upgrades for Lure and also the Archon around, as well as the Psy Storm. He has a problem with this economy as well. This looks pretty bad for July. He had a great opening here. Very, very greedy. Got away with it. But in the end, it is Lure who is able to prevail. GG. And OGS MVP Lure, my bad, takes the first win in today's Up and Downs.
Well, good job on Lure. I have to say, I really like July Zerg's early game, but that one attack into the Psy Storms, as soon as they have Psy Storm, Ling, Baneling, Muta becomes unbelievably cost inefficient. It's like worse than going Immortals against, Ultras against Immortals, you know? It's just, it's worse than going Broodlords against Void Rays. That is the counter to it. And July Zerg, after that, he still was fine because of those 5 bases, you know?
Exactly.
But he attacked with like 7 Broodlords with no ground army with it. He needs either Roaches or Mass Sling or really slow moving with Infestors, but he just kind of went.
At the same time, I was really impressed by how Lure dealt with the situation. You mentioned how he just focused on the Infestors, and this is actually so true. He made sure that as soon as he spotted these Broodlords, he moved back with the Stalkers. He just tried to get in here with the High Templars, tried to snipe some of the Infestors, and suddenly there were only 2 or 3 Infestors left. And that's the time when he decided, okay, now I can go in. The Broodlords are a little bit out of position. There are not too many Infestors left. Just blink in, take them down, and July was on the retreat and had a really, really tough time after this.
Yeah, I was getting so excited again. I'm like, wow, this looks like great play by July. Like this is old school great July swarming power, but he got so ridiculous with it later on. It was actually sad to see, but at the same time, he had some good play in there.
Yeah.
It's just towards the end, I don't know if it was overconfidence, what was that? But I mean, Lure looking pretty good. Everyone has basically counted him out. No one thinks Lure has a chance, but that was a strong game.
July had a couple of engagements and decisions where he started to fight, where he could have just pulled back. He did not really need to attack at those points, so he got good upgrades. I really like this. And his creep spread was really bad. That would have helped him later on, and especially delayed the attack of his opponent quite a bit. But yeah, you're right. He had a very good start, but then there were a few decisions that he made where he fought against Force Field. He got Force Fielded, stormed everything. He didn't pull back, and I think that lost him the game in the long run.
Yeah. Well, all right. Next match, JYP against Ghost King. Another good one. Now, JYP has had a hard time historically against Terran. I remember once upon a time he was like 0-12 against Terran in pro matches or something. It was pretty bad.
It's by far his worst matchup.
Yeah.
He has a 42% win ratio against Terran. I have him here with
That's a lot better than it used to be, at least.
Well, it's still pretty bad compared to his 58% against Protoss and 70% against Zerg.
Oh, dude, he's good against Zerg. But, I mean, Nest-T just tooled him over. So, the 3 people that we think really have the top chance, Nest-T, Ghost King, and JYP, Nest-T's already taken out JYP, so JYP really needs to win against Ghost King. This is really important for him.
You know, when you first asked me earlier, who do you think is going to get out of the group? I mean, we have obviously 3 to 4 people. And I toyed with the idea of naming Lure for a second, and I was like, nah, that's not a name that
would
you can
be
throw
a manly call right there.
Just think about how great that would be for him. That would be making like a huge splash. Getting into Code S by defeating all these players, that would actually be incredible. He's off to a good start. He was defeating in July right now, but I feel like the biggest tasks they are still ahead of him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's going to be his easiest match of the day, I would think.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so too.
July Zerg is so off and on. Sometimes he really does look like, whoa, you might be like a top 8 Code S guy sometimes, but other times it's like, you're kind of like, how are you even in Code A? You know, he's all over the map, and we'll see how he'll do for the rest of the day. But I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle for him. But at the same time, JYP, I could see maybe something happening. What if JYP loses right here?
Yeah.
Then Lure, definitely, his chances rise.
And talking about maps, what do you think about the next one? Dual Sight in a 2D.
I gotta say, my least favorite map, but in the finals, did we not have a sick game on Dual Sight? Oh my god.
That hold.
Oh my god, it was
Squirtle,
insanity.
I was like, what is happening? In the mid-game, I was like, okay, Squirtle is dead. This is over. And then I was looking at it and was like, wait a second.
It was an insane hold.
He cannot win this game. This is not possible. And then, wow.
Dude, the placement of his robo was giving me heart palpitations that whole match. Because it was like, well, if you lose that, the game's over. Like, you just need a lot of claw side.
Well, guys, we're heading into the game. JYP in the second game is up against Björn, a.k.a. Ghost King on Dual Sight. This is the GSL Up and Downs with Colin and Jose.